Hey, what's going on, guys? Battle Nation Emperor here, back today with another video. And today, guys, we have another Imperial request coming directly from the Emperor subreddit, linked down in the description below. And it is from Chef. Now, a fun fact about Chef, just wanted to point out about this guy. Here's, of course, his profile on Discord. He is also active on the Battle Nation's main server as well, so that's pretty freaking cool. But just wanted to point this out about Chef. Fun fact about him, he might have the most hours played on Battle Nation Steam of anybody. Here is the top 5, and as you can see, it's not even close. And he's not that freaking far away from being like the top of all time. Like, he's what? Yeah, just under, or he needs just over 3 more days of playtime, and he'll be the first to 10,000 hours. That is insane. So I could be wrong here, and if I am, I'll make sure to pin the correction, but I'm pretty sure about this. The reason I think he was able to attain this is, I mean, I could totally be wrong. He might have just played since, beta ended, right? But what I believe happened here is Battle Nations was at one point very temporarily available on Steam. It did exist before, unfortunately, being shut down. And this was before all of Battle Nations shut down. Battle Nations Steam shut down first. Original, mobile Battle Nations on iOS and Android would continue going on for a little bit longer before being, shut down with the rest of everything Z2. But even before all of that, Battle Nations got shut down on Steam. It is my belief that Chef just happened to, be fortunate enough and cool enough to be able to be playing Battle Nations on Steam at that point, and now is still with us to this day. No matter what the case is, just wanted to give a special shout out to this guy. Freaking awesome dude. Give us this awesome video recommendation. And let's go ahead and read it out real quick. Here it is, and it reads, video suggestion. What if we have a special boss strike where the units we're allowed to use are limited? The enemies are the equivalent to player level 35 and we're only allowed to use units that are available until player level 30. So that light tanks, bazookas, heavies, and whatnot maybe limit wimp usage in it. The rewards should be unique. The light tank, but with the stats of a super tank. Call it super light tank. Transform your light tank tokens to super tanks and so on. Very interesting concept. We continue to go on. It would make many of our early game units less useless and give us incentive to use them or even upgrade them. Actually, a veteran system requires a big amount of SP but can be upgraded to fit late game units would be great too. Even if they're weaker, that would be fine. It would still give them a use. Imagine having a boss strike where your front row is entirely mini tanks only. And that's a great suggestion, and that's going to be our first variant. Exactly what Chef just said. Imagine a boss strike where you can only use the useless guys. This, of course, goes back to the balance changes we posted on an earlier video. And we learned a lot of stuff in that video, but the biggest thing, which was a great point brought up by a whole bunch of different people, is you really can't nerf anything, or you really shouldn't nerf anything, I will say, going into this, brand new stage of Battle Nations. Because since you've already released, the full game live, everything, and you've already added the nanopod shot back, so people have already spent money on nanopods, nobody likes the concept of you coming in here and nerfing units, they've already bought with nanopods, whether they be, nanopod units in and of themselves, so you actually spent nanopod units on them, or you just bought resources to get those regular units, and therefore you already spent money, aka nanopods, on the said units. I think it's a great concept, and I think the biggest point this boss strike would kind of reveal to us is it lets us, keep kind of more useless units. So this doesn't even really go into the more concept of should units that are super powerful be brought down? No. This is looking at what we should do as a community, what that video showed us anyways, at least in my opinion, that we should focus on buffing the other guys. So don't focus on trying to kill the legendary animals or even focus on trying to, take down some of the cooler promotional units or maybe even stuff that's already in the game that some people say, should be nerfed, right? Don't nerf the mammoth. Please don't nerf the mammoth battleship, I beg of you. Don't nerf the wimp, he's too iconic. Stuff like that really, in my opinion, shouldn't be touched with. Instead, give the units that are desperately underpowered, like the arsonist, the dragoon, a chance to get back in the game and have some actual potential. And that's what this first boss strike would do. Basically, imagine going against these guys again, or these guys, the easiest freaking raiders in the world. You go back basically to the beginning of the game, but the catch is you can only use beginning of the game units. It would be a fun experience for late game players who have already kind of maxed out and done everything to go back to the simpler days of using dragoons and, arsonist, you know, kind of give us a little bit of flash of the past. And also just, you know, if they could buff them in general, that would be cool. But if they can't buff them, or if they don't want to touch unit stats right now, perfectly understandable. How about just a fun little boss strike where, you know, you're limited to only early game stuff, or, you know, certain units to get the more use. That would be a pretty cool idea. And since it was Chef's recommendation for the video, just wanted to throw it in here since he gave us this awesome video idea. Now, moving on to the next few, because while Chef's idea was great, had to include it in the intro, I didn't want to just steal his idea and talk about the entire video. It's an awesome concept. I would love to expand upon it more if you guys are interested. Just let me know in the comments below, and we definitely can. But just wanted to throw in a few more concepts I had and get your thoughts as well. And certainly, if you guys like this, let me know. We can make more. And let me know in the description what your own special boss strike would be. I would love to see it, because this isn't a completely unique concept. I won't call this a theory video. Actually, no, I will, because it totally is a theory video. But it has a basis in reality. Unlike Battle Nations in Space, which is just a freaking cool concept, you know, fully out there, but, you know, at least it sounds cool, right? Here, there is a basis, and it is that fact that they have already done this kind of concept, you know, boss strike with metal detectors, or, you know, boss strike with, you know, a fire effect, right? Stuff like that, you know, was, you could argue, small variants of boss strikes. Here, we're going to try to go a little bit more unique, a little bit more cool, in my opinion, but, you know, it does have a small basis in reality. So just wanted to throw that out there before getting into the list. Starting off with number 1. If you're a older gamer like me, I think you're going to like this one. And that, of course, is the fog. Now, what are we talking about the fog? So for anybody who played Plants vs. Zombies, or is at least even semi-familiar with it, even if you're not, don't worry, I can quickly go over it. Basically, in the Plants vs. Zombies game, what you do is you go out there and you fight with plants against zombies, as the name would suggest. And there are various different levels, but one very commonly remembered is the fog level. And how it works is zombies come at you, as per usual, but you cannot see them. There is a thick fog. So you're basically just shooting into the dark, going off sound cues, and praying you can get out of there. Well, imagine that in a boss strike. So you go in there, you set up your units, but the entire enemy of the field just looks like fog, just completely unseeable. You can't see anything except your own units, and you have to just pray. You can still tap. So, like, for example, let's say you have a mortar team, right, that is supposed to be able to hit the entire field. He can still hit the entire field, and you will be able to see everything that mortar team can hit. The only problem is he's only going to be able to, you know, hit, you know, anything you want. You know, he's not going to be able to get a particular hit because you don't know what's out there. So you'll still have the same range, still have the same attacks, but you'll have no clue what's out there. I think this would be an awesome idea. I think this has major potential, and I think it's self-explanatory. You just can't see the enemy units. They can attack you as they please. You'll have to figure out what's out there just by what's attacking you, honestly. And I think it has a lot of fun potential. I think just the fog would be an easy early concept. It'll test whether or not the community at large likes the concept of a special boss strike or dislikes it. And if it goes well, we can go with more concepts like the ones we're about to continue with. Moving right along to the next concept. This one is extremely self-explanatory, but just wanted to explain some of the quick rules on how I would propose it. And that, of course, is a 2v2 in Battle Nations. Yes, honestly, you might say, how the heck does that work? And here's how I would pitch it. Pokemon 2v2s. I'm dead serious. So basically, how you would go about a Pokemon 2v2, I'm sure pretty much all of us are aware of Pokemon, most popular game ever, maybe behind Minecraft, is the simple concept of a 2v2 is there are 2 players on each side. All of you throw out a Pokemon. Everybody controls one Pokemon. There are 2 Pokemon versus 2 Pokemon. Normally, you're all allowed to have a 6-barrel deck, or I should say 6-barrel Pokemon. However, there are some cases where, you know, it's 3 and 3, or maybe even just 1 and 1, so everybody gets 1. However, that's besides the point. Point being is everybody uses their own units, or Pokemon in this case, against another set of 2 people. This would be the same case, except the enemy 2 people are just 2 waves of ball strike units. So your average ball strike wave, whatever it would be for that level, just double it. And just expand the field to just have the exact same amount of units, but doubled. Now, give yourself an open field, but now the size of that field is doubled. And you're with one of your guildmates. And you 2 have to take on this 2v2 as best as you possibly can. I think that would go freaking hard. Because at the end of the day, guilds are meant to bring us closer together. They're supposed to be that thing that we can all bond behind and, we all share a community sense with. And, it's supposed to, strengthen the community. And I think they do a great job at that. But any way they can do that better, that's how I feel we should move to. And this would certainly do it. Think about how many friends and communities and builds you already have. Now imagine if you could take your homeboy into Battle Nations, not only train him, not only talk to him about base design, not only maybe fight him in a few 1v1s, but then you and him side by side with your armies can just go out there and kill some randoms. Man, that would go freaking fracking hard. That would be insane. That would be awesome, and I would love to see that. So, extremely self-explanatory concept. As far as the rules, pretty much, again, just double everything. How would turns work? I would say every turn, you get one attack, your buddy gets one attack. The enemy will then proceed to wait as, they're attacked by both you and your buddy's attack. And then they will attack twice. So you know how the enemy normally attacks once and then, obviously just gives you the turn back? Instead, they'll attack twice. So either 2 units attacking at the same time or 1 unit on their side goes, just followed up by another one immediately attacking as well. That's how I would do it, at least. So yeah, that's my pitch for number 2, a 2v2 system. And moving right along to number 3, we have, I think this would be pretty cool, a combined arms special variant boss strike. So, what does this mean? Basically, the Sovereign Navy boss strike, where they did an only Navy boss strike? I think that's a cool variant. It, in and of itself, is a variant, obviously, like this video is talking about. But let's be real. They couldn't do air boss strikes, because even though that would probably make more sense since boss strikes are historically, giving you air units, they couldn't do that because just so many new players don't have air units. Fair enough. They did this because this was a little bit after Navy, and a lot of people still didn't have Navy, but at least enough of them did to where this was somewhat justifiable, so they went ahead and did it. Fair enough. But hear me out. What about a boss strike? You go in, and if you're low enough level, it's fine. You just play it out on land per usual. If you're high enough to get a Navy unlocked, and let's say 5 levels after, or somewhere around that, a few levels after, to give you time to build up a little bit of Navy, you give the ability to fight on land and sea. So you'll fight your first wave of units on land, then it'll switch you to a Navy. You'll have to fight them. After you beat that wave, it goes back to your land, the exact same health and formation, you can't change. You take them on, and you get the point. You go back and forth until, let's say both sides take out 3 waves. That way it's 6 wave total. So maybe still both of them have to take on 5 waves, and it's, 10 waves total. Whatever would be fair and balanced for everybody, including the game itself, I think would be freaking awesome. But yeah, just that idea. And maybe, let's say your max level are like really high up there. You know what I mean? Like you're just goated. In that case, imagine you have the concept to go air as well. So you're fighting this on land, sea, and in air. That would be actually pretty freaking cool. So yeah, combined arms, fighting on all fronts. I think that would be freaking crazy. And if they add Battle Nation Space, they can throw in space waves as well. Moving right along to our last and final idea. Again, I had a whole bunch of these, but I just had to pick out 4 because, one, I want this video to be a little bit longer than, of course, the last few videos, which I don't think have even hit 10 minutes, just because they were focusing more on the channel. Perfectly fine. But did want this video to be a little bit longer, but still not too long. Still trying to find the sweet spot for these videos. I think it's somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes. If you have a preferred one, let me know in the comments below. But if you guys like this video concept, also let me know in the comments down below, because we can certainly make a part 2. I have about 15 other ideas, because I think boss strike variants, as I just love boss strikes in general, boss strike variants I think would have the potential to make them even better. So I'd love to know if you guys are interested in this idea. If so, let me know, and I can certainly do a part 2. But for this video, here's the last one, and that is hold the line. Basically, you know that challenge and that feeling you got back in the original Call of Duties, maybe only Call of Duty 1, maybe Call of Duty 2 if you like it, whatever is true Call of Duty to you. For me, it's Call of Duty 1 and 2. Maybe 3. Not this. Call of Duty Zombies, the only 2 ones I'll truly recognize. 3 had okay zombies, I'll admit. But for me, my childhood was Call of Duty Zombies 1 and Call of Duty Zombies 2. That was truly impeccable. Man, do I love COD 2 Zombies. But point being is you can run wave after wave after wave. And it's always a question of how high could you personally get, screenshot of your phone, and then, share with your friends. Because seriously, I mean, what was your maximum limit to push it? How high could you go before you died? Because it really didn't matter, at one point you would eventually just, get all the spells, maxed out Juggernaut, everything's pack-a-punched, you got a ray gun, and you're just kind of camping wherever you can find whatever map you're on. And you're really just waiting to die, because eventually they'll one-tap you, eventually they'll get so many and numerous, it's impossible to avoid. What really gets me is eventually you'll get so far in the game, you can't kill them even with the pack-a-punch ray gun, like you gotta shoot them 50 freaking times before they even die. It's insane. All of this to say is it's just that human element to get it as far as we can. And what if we do that in a boss strike? So you set up your line as best as you can, and you are just given easy wave after easy wave. It gets slowly harder and harder and harder and harder until eventually it becomes unstoppable. Until eventually you're going against 2 ancient sentinels at the exact same time. Until eventually you're going against Perface. Until eventually you're just taking on, gosh, everything. Like I was trying to think of, I know, the Log. Gosh, that thing was unstoppable. Truly the strongest unit in all of Battle Nations, hands down. Point being is it gets harder and harder until it's actually impossible and you just die. But how far could we push it? What would be the human limit, And I think that would be extremely fun because, one, you can still be earning points for, your team, your guild, getting boss points, and pushing your team stronger and stronger towards tier 10 for all of your guild. That's awesome. But also, you would be able to, sit there and say, oh, well, I'm trying to get a high score. I'm trying to get a personal best, or maybe even you're pushing the world record. Maybe you're maxed out, one of the strongest players, and you think you can do it. And if that's the case, Godspeed. I hope you can. And I think the concept is just going as far as you can, holding the line, and maybe you can even construct it as, it's literally just one line. They keep pushing it, or maybe you only have your front line, however you want to do it. But again, just the concept of endless wave pushing until eventually you just cannot take it anymore. And yeah, guys, that will just about do it. One more shout out to Chef. Absolutely love this guy. Freaking awesome. Want to thank him for the Battle Nations video suggestion. It was awesome. And congratulate him for being probably because I don't see how this could be wrong. I'm pretty sure. Again, he even said it himself. It's now totally confirmed. But after looking at it, I'm pretty freaking sure it is. So congrats to him for being the longest Battle Nations Steam player of all time. That's freaking amazing, dude. And yeah, thank him for the video recommendation if you're interested. If you want to talk to him to thank him for the video, or if you want to talk to me or anybody else in the Battle Nations Empire, you are certainly welcome to join the server down in the description below. And yeah, guys, if you're still watching this, I greatly appreciate you. Thank you very much for watching this video all the way through. If you have any questions, suggestions, please drop them down in the description below. If you liked today's video, please consider dropping a like down below as well and subscribing to the channel if you are new. And yeah, guys, that will just about do it for us today. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, have a great rest of your day.